Alrighty, folks. Oh, hang on.
No, you are not stealing that. Those are my roaches. You're not allowed those.
Adorable. Alright, we're just waiting for the game to show back up. Come on, game. There we go. Right, so we found out that the game cut out when we just did Friday. So we're just going to start from basically Friday again and just blitz through the last 5-10 minutes. So, yeah. We'll carry on from there. Do you want to do Chase's monologue bits?
Because
then he'd have something to do. And I'd just do his voices and Leo's voices. Just to give you something to do, because there's not really... Unless you want to do Chase.
Could do Chase's voice.
Alright, if you do Chase, I'll do the monologue.
Yeah. Just for Leo's route, because...
Yeah, because there's not really much else to...
At least for this part of Leo's route, because I do know other side characters do come up later.
Yeah. If it comes to the stage we've got
Duke,
like 4
Clint,
characters... Yeah, we've got back to other characters, we'll swap it back around from there. Alright.
Wow.
Clinton hadn't been lying after all. What? Leo whispers at me from across the table, not looking up from his phone.
Nothing. Just finding some interesting stuff.
I whisper back. Good. Leo grins, but doesn't look up from his phone. There isn't much to go off of. After reading through it, I'm pretty skeptical of Haunted Echo and the main source of my documentary. At least the bit of information I just came across references some newspaper articles from 1952. The young wolf named Robert Smith wasn't even a resident of Echo. He'd just been resting at the Echo classification yard after taking a train from the capital. He was on his way to the west coast, and once he thought he'd found the right train, he attempted to board it. No one knows exactly what happened. Yet somehow his train hopping went horribly wrong, and he was found with both limbs severed 2 hours later. He'd managed to crawl 20 yards north on along the rail before he was found. Somehow, impossibly, he survived the ordeal up to that point. This was mainly due to the mud packs that had been placed in the stumps, halting the bleeding. Of note, the fact that Robert had seemingly been delirious because of blood loss or pain or trauma. Likely a combination of all 3, actually. He claims that the bleeding had been stopped by a creature of some kind. When he tried to describe it, he began to sob and scream incoherently. It's hard to say how much of this is being exaggerated by the author. Either way, I don't exactly have time to track down all of our sources, so I decide I have to trust it. My leg jumps at something soft and ticklish brushing up against it. I snap my gaze up at Leo.
What?
Leo gives me an innocent look while he continues to brush his tail up against my leg.
Well, if you're not going to say anything, then please stop doing that. It's distracting.
He does stop, then I feel a little guilty, so I look back up.
And thanks for getting a library card, just so I could check this out. It's a huge help.
He smiles. No problem,
I'm not
Nutra.
used to looking up for that colour text.
It's fine.
Not one of your sexier words.
I return back to the book. It's unlikely that Robert would have survived anyway due to the extent of his injuries and infection. Still, as of note that he ended up committing suicide a few hours after discovery. He apparently slipped on the 5th floor window of the Peyton Regional Medical Centre. Although authorities simply dismissed it as the case of a man knowing his demise was nigh and finishing the job himself, the author speculates it had something to do with the horrors he saw on the tracks. I hear a soft whine coming from in front of me, and I lower the book to find Leo draped across the table on his chest. He's looking up at me in the huge puppy eyes. I can't help but smile because it's so fucking adorable, even for a wolf as big as him.
Something inaccurate, actually, because you know that thing that dogs do where they kind of look up at you and it's the puppy dog eyes, yeah?
Yes.
Wolves don't have those muscles.
Huh.
It's something dogs evolved to interact with humans.
And also dogs can't look up.
Pupsky is cackling. Hate all of you.
I will always cackle.
I'm here like, here's some cool fucking science.
No, I will always cackle for a Shaun of the Dead reference. It's fine.
No, Shaun of the Dead reference.
You both said the same fucking thing. Like it's a fucking echo around me of like Shaun of the Dead. Yes, hey, yay. Do you want to do a voice, Jodie?
Absolutely not. I'm good.
Join us in hell. Commit sins with us.
I work in a South Sea bar. I'm already fucking there.
You know, that was the pub I saw a dead body outside of a few months back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, technically, you saw it outside the Albert Road toilet. It's not necessarily my.
Yeah, but it's literally like
It
round
is
the
right.
corner.
It is right next to the terrifying Albert Road toilet. Yeah.
Yes, that road is weird. It's a fucking weird road.
Portsmouth is weird. Come visit, Popsky. We occasionally see bodies in the road.
Yeah.
James, behave.
Oh yeah. What? I have a project to do. Remember?
Yeah, I know, but we've been here for about 3 hours now. You should take a break. I look at the time and I'm shocked to see he's actually right. How the hell did that happen?
Well, I guess that's a good idea. I was just finding some really interesting stuff. Let me
sure-
info dump, Leo. Wolves don't have eyebrows.
I'm sure that project of yours is going to turn out awesome. He grins and stands up abruptly, grabbing my book as well, so I couldn't continue to read. Let's go get some lunch. It's already almost 3.
All right. Did you want to go to the diner?
You want to eat there?
Well, it's been a few days. I'd like to catch up with the others, you know. I know that's what you wanted to do.
Actually, everyone's busy. I already tried. Oh, did I forget to move on? I forgot to move on.
Oh, really? What are they doing?
Well, Flynn's working. TJ and Jen are on a hike, and Carl's asleep.
Oh,
It doesn't really seem that Leo should just blow off meeting up with everyone. But I guess at this point of the trip he's just tired of trying. I know I would be. Probably just to show me up after what I said last night, Leo takes me to a semi-fancy steakhouse. He of course insists on paying for everything. I'm not really sure when Leo became so concerned with how I perceive his income. I don't mind though, the meal is good and I'm happy not to pay the $30 price tag. It does remind me of his job though, so I asked him about his schedule. He said his parents
he's
gave him the
literally trying to turn you into his house husband.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's... Oh, I fucking hate Leo.
I never thought when we start playing this you would sort of realise that Flynn is not the worst character in this. He says his parents gave him the entire week off, which surprises me. I do remember how Leo worked almost every day in that shop. I guess his dad's just mellowing out with age. Again, I have no reason to complain though. On the way back, Leo nudges me as I'm nodding off and gestures out the window. Peyton High. Sure enough, our old school is visible out the window. Want to swing round?
Just to look at it?
Yeah. I'm tired, but we're not doing anything else.
Alright, why not?
It's past 5 at this point, and as we pull up to the parking lot, there's only a few cars scattered around. We walk around the side of the school, then onto the football field. If Peyton High School put its money anywhere, it was definitely sports. That was one of the reasons I was so mediocre by comparison. Every sport in the school was extremely competitive, with each one winning state regularly.
They still win state again since I begun?
Nope, came close last year though. Almost as close as did back in 09.
Ah yeah, you still sore about that?
Leo sits down on the top bench of the concrete bleachers and I sit down next to him. Sometimes, mostly because we were just so damn close and it really just feels like it was yesterday.
It does kind of feel that way.
I can remember it pretty clearly. It was one of the few times I'd seen Leo really cry. He'd wanted that championship so bad. I lean back and look around, breathing in deeply.
Well, it's really nostalgic being here.
Isn't it? Leo looks off towards the sunset and I can see him getting glassy-eyed. Is it weird that if I could, I'd go through high school again?
Yes.
I think for a moment. Yes.
Not really. Yes. I'd like to do it. I made a lot of mistakes.
Well, not really because of that, because it was a lot of fun. I just want to experience it again.
Secondary school fun?
No. I
Only
grin at him.
Leo would think secondary school would be fun. Shit.
It's you, honey.
Oh yeah. Hey, you're talking like you peaked in high school.
Did I?
You did. Yes.
The question catches me completely off guard, and my stumbling around for words that follow doesn't help.
No.
He sighs.
Leo, you've got a good paying job, you own a house, a pretty damn good life. You're doing better than most.
He laughs a little. I guess I just don't feel it, you know?
Why not?
He leans back. Well, I don't really feel as good as I did back then. When I think of high school, or even further back, man, those were the good old days. I think about how completely inverse I am to that and how my life improved exponentially after I left the town.
Well, you know, if you keep looking back, I don't think you'll ever be happy.
He looks
I
so
do
sad.
like that artwork.
He looks so sad. I wrap an arm around his shoulders, which is a little difficult considering how broad they are.
Because 5 years from now, you'll probably look back on this era of your life and think, man, I wish I could go back.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So, let's just enjoy now.
Leo sighs again, then looks straight down at me, meeting my eyes. Chase?
Yeah?
He pauses, looking off to the side before turning his eyes back on mine. I love you. I immediately look away. Chase, please come back. I miss you so much, every day. I stare across the field, unable to meet his eyes again. I'll stop smoking. I'll stop picking on Clint. I'll even get rid of the gun. Just please come back.
I don't know, Leo. You know how I don't like it here. And I feel like I should keep my options open to find a good job, a good place to live.
Just for a year or two, while you're getting on your feet, I'll give you a place to stay.
That sounds great, Leo, but to get back together, that's like setting ourselves up for another breakup, and I don't want to do that.
But then we'd know for sure, without parents or school in the way, it'll be just us, and even if it don't work out, there's closure there. For the first time I feel like myself seeing things from Leo's point of view. Not necessarily losing anything, but by at least trying. And he's right, there wasn't any closure, mostly because of me. Leo must sense my indecision because he immediately presses forward. And I'll be making enough to support you while you figure things out.
Hey, I don't want to mooch.
I don't mind. I just want you to be comfortable so you can do what you want to do.
But, Echo.
Leo's quiet for a long while before he finally speaks up. Now that I can't fix, but at least one way to decide is to weigh what's more important to you.
You're asking me to choose?
I'm not asking that exactly. Leo glances at me. But if I did... I blow out a long sigh.
So you are.
He doesn't say anything, so my mind starts wandering over the years we'd spent together. Despite how much we'd fight, there's no question in my mind what the answer is, and it hits me like a thunderbolt.
Well, I'd choose you.
All at once his face explodes into a grin. So much happiness in one expression that I don't think I'd ever been able to take back what I just said, even if I wanted to. And instantly I'm wrapped up in a tight, warm hug that crushes the air from my lungs. Oh my god, Chase, I love you so fucking much!
Hey.
But you're still got a year of school left, so we're gonna have to get back into contact. We're gonna have to exchange... I clasp his muzzle shut on my hand around it. He just stares back at me with wide eyes.
I didn't even say yes.
I take my hand away from his muzzle. Oh well, what did you say? I look again towards the sunset, past the concrete bleachers and goalposts in the direction of Echo and take a deep breath. I look back at Leo.
Yes.
And then he's kissing me. He's not rough like it was at the train yard. His mouth stays closed, but he holds my head gently like he's trying to pour all of his love into me, through just my lips. As ridiculous as it might sound, I can feel it.
Oh, cute. I wonder how they're gonna fucking fall apart.
It's all about them holes again. Leo's heavy soft body presses me into bed.
Really horrible search history. That was just upsetting. He spent 3 years trying to find porn that matches his old boyfriend.
Yep.
Hundreds of searches, Jody. Yeah. It's a horror game, remember?
I can feel that stare from here.
It was definitely a stare. Oh god, what horrors are going to come to us next?
Leo's heavy soft body presses me into bed, licking and kissing up my neck. His hands slide up and down my body, feeling out everything. He's gasping like he can't catch his breath. I lay there, my eyes shut, as I can feel his cock pressing against mine, writhing every time Leo reaches down to grasp them together. I slide my own hands down his back until they reach his rear and squeeze hard under his tail, forcing another gasp out of the big wolf. Slowly he starts to lick down the length of my body, starting with my chest, then down my stomach. He pauses to snuffle and tease around my navel before his mouth finally closes around me. My eyes roll back as I clutch into the sheets arcing my back. I listen as Leo showers down the hall and I smile as I can hear him singing. I'd usually shower with him back in the day, but I'm so tired I passed out since we both finished. Once I opened my eyes again, Leo was already in the shower. I'm about to drift off again when I hear Leo's phone buzz. He'd been on it all day, probably trying to coordinate a meeting with the others. It's already Friday, which is hard to believe we had to get together before we'd lost the chance. I look over, the screen is already lit up, so I sit up and look. A message from Flynn. Yeah, well, fuck you too. Not exactly a surprising message to get from Flynn, but I still wonder what they're fighting about. From the sounds of it, Leo's still in the middle of a shower, still rocking out his diva pop song. Is this Is this the pivot point?
No.
Okay. I'm going to save anyway because I'm saving the well.
What are you thinking? Do we look at our weird boyfriend's phone?
I think if we respect his privacy, the story will just continue as it is until it all completely falls apart blank. Whereas we check his phone, we'll get something more explosive.
If you want to go for it.
I don't know. Let's go. If this isn't the pivot point, then let's check the phone. With some amount of guilt, I reach over and grab his phone and open up the texts. Immediately I see a few pinned conversations. They're from me. Judging by the dates, they're from when I was still away at college. There's also a few saved attachments, and I quickly swipe away the others' more recent conversations. The latest and earlier this morning, it looks like it was to Flynn. Chase has a project to do. Bullshit. With you're fucking with him again, huh? I'm helping him. You're planning this from the start, didn't you? What? This whole thing was to get back in his pants. How about I planned this after you ruined the entire week, huh? Yeah, well, fuck you too. I frown. It's too bad Leo and Flynn are still fighting. For some reason, that exchange has me feeling uneasy. I pull up his next recent thread, one with Carl. Carl asks Leo when they're hanging out again yesterday night. Leo pokes some fun at him about sleeping in the crawl space. Then Leo tells him he isn't sure, that he'll probably be too busy with my project to hang out. Leo never asked me. I feel my heart start to pound. Today Carl texted again asking things were going. Leo tells him that I wanted to go to the house school for nostalgia's sake and I want to be alone for it. He sent that 2 hours before we even got there, before he acted like that was on a whim. Then Jenna asks if this is the controlling part. Yes, controlling, social horror. Then Jenna asks if Leo was avoiding her as she said something's wrong. Leo tells her everything's fine, but again I'm too busy to hang out. Then his text to TJ.
Hey, yesterday was so much fun. I know you said we were probably going to be busy, but I wanted to check.
Chase is still pretty sad about what happened Monday. I think he needs more time.
Oh, okay. Please tell him I'm sorry. He told me he was fine yesterday, but I guess it must have been faking it for my sake.
Yeah, he's still pretty broken up. We'll figure it out though. I'm gripping the phone hard. Could Leo really have done all this? To TJ especially? I sit there quietly listening to the wolf continue to sing. My stomach twists up. I realise I now have to confront him on this. I've let things slide before, but this is on a different level. I hug my knees and stare at the wall, feeling strangely violated now. As I stare, I see a dark spot with spindly legs move across the wall. The spider pauses as if acknowledging me before disappearing into the dark corner.
All of that was horrible.
I sit on hard, uneven ground, shivering as if trying to cover myself with a blanket. My eyes adjust enough for me to realise I'm outside somewhere, looking through the branches of dead trees to the many stars above me. Aside from the calls of the few birds, it's completely silent. I stare at the sky above me for a while, wishing that it wasn't so cold I could go back to sleep. Where am I? The slight confusion I feel mixed in with the apathy of just waking up is a familiar feeling. I can remember when my parents forced me to the Boy Scouts 10 years ago. I hated it so much, especially the camping. I could never fall asleep when I finally did, it would be marred by me tossing and turning, waking up in confusion as to where I was. I'd sit up straight in the tent, looking around for about 10 minutes, wondering why I was in complete darkness and sitting on a sleeping bag. Except now there's no tent or sleeping bag. My mind works slowly like a drenched in molasses, and I knead the ground with my fingers, digging them into the dead vegetation and soil. And then finally I break through the barrier to lucidity and realise that's what's happening to me is real. I'm outside. I look left and right and see I'm surrounded by trees or bushes. The smell of sagebrush and dirt fills my nostrils as I unsteadily get to my feet. My limbs and flesh are numb from the cold, and I rub my hands up and down my arms, trying to find some warmth. Did I sleepwalk? I must have, unless Leo took me out here for some reason, or someone else did. I shiver. There's not much else I can do except walk forward. Ahead of me looks like the branches clear out into the darkness, into more darkness. I hope that I'm just behind Leo's house, where I know there are some bushes and trees. Either way, I can't be that far from the house. So I start walking, reaching out blindly to move past sharp branches and prickly bushes. The pain wasn't that bad, not as nearly as bad as you'd think it'd be. I look back behind me, staring hard into the blackness. I can't see anything beyond the branches right in front of me, which gives me the impression of gnarled teeth in front of a dark, endless mouth. Quickly I turn back around and push through the dead vegetation in front of me, trying not to panic. But I know I was dead in the moment I looked down. I knew I was dead the moment I looked down. The branch scraped across my cheek and another stabs me in the hip as I run right into it. Two stumps gushing blood, splashing the wheels of the train and rails. I finally break into the open. Now I can see more stars above me, but the complete lack of a moon makes almost everything around me impossible to see. I can at least tell there's a large clearing, but no matter how hard I squint, I can't see ahead of me. Tentatively, I start walking towards, looking left and right for any sign of lights that might help guide me back to the town. I can feel a worrying seed of panic starting up in my chest, and I worry I'm going to explode out of me any second. The last thing I need is me running through the night screaming my head off. Pretty soon I became aware of what looks like a large block in front of me. Again, I reach out with my hands, walking slower as I approach whatever's in front of me. They press up against something rough, hard and cold. Whatever it is made of some type of metal. It feels broken and rusted, so I assume it's old. It's a warehouse of some kind? I sidestep to the right until my hands find up against some kind of bars that stick out from the structure, and that's when it hits me. It's a freight car on the old train. Sure enough, the next thing in my hands meet is empty space when I come across it. As I come across what I remember to be open door and the open door I'd sat in earlier, I was out at the train yard. I almost laughed. Then my anxiety about finishing the project called me to sleepwalk all the way back out here. At least now I know exactly where I am. I rest my hands on the edge of the car, breathing in the musty air inside. There's a hint of something sweet and sick on top of it all, and it crosses my mind that anything could have crawled inside and died. I quickly move away from the car, turning my body in the direction I know Leo's house is in. I start walking again, pouring through the recent memories to see if I could somehow remember how the hell I got here. I remember Leo coming back into the bedroom, putting his arms around me, and then nothing. I definitely fell asleep. Sleepwalking is the only answer. The sound of rustling behind me makes me jump, and I keep moving forward, not wanting some tiny creature in the grass getting me spooked. Squinting ahead of me, I see no lights yet, which is strange, because I know Echo should have been in at least some lights on. The street lights at least. A loud metallic clang fills the air, and this time I do whirl around.
Hello?
My voice is still scratchy from waking up, and I cough to clear it.
Hello?
The loudness of my voice actually startles me, but the response is silence. Did a bird hit it? Maybe I knocked something loose when I was feeling around. I'm definitely not going back to check it out though, so with a quickened pace I start moving again. That's when I hear more shifting around the car, like something is rolling around inside. I stop walking again and hold still, perking my ears as I try to hold my breath, heart pounding. This time I don't call out, instead just listen. I swallow, and it's so loud I almost jump at the sound. But again the sound stops completely. I wait a while longer before I start moving again, this time a slight jog. The crazy thought enters my mind when I think maybe Leo and I got really drunk and maybe we both came out here and blacked out. And that Leo's in the train car right now hungover and rolling around. It's the middle of that though. The sound starts up again. It's louder this time and ends with a cutting off a split second before something heavy thuds into the dead vegetation below. I stop again, but this time it's so whatever it is doesn't hear me, knowing that if I keep walking the heavy crunches of my footsteps will allow for it to pinpoint me immediately. My throat is completely dry and a new thought enters my mind. It could be Clint. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he comes out here to sleep in the train cars. That'd be totally something he'd do. Well, it does ease my mind, and it does ease my worries a little bit. I'm not fully relaxed because I know the dumb fuck has a gun. I also know he wouldn't hesitate to shoot at something that startled him. So I crouch down a bit, waiting, listening, and now I'm pretty sure I can hear breathing. Ragged, wheezy breathing. That definitely sounds like Clint. I gather up some spit in my mouth so my tongue doesn't stick to the roof of my mouth and take a small breath.
Hey, Clint?
I say it again gently, quietly, but I'm sure he can hear me. I get some more silence in return, but I also get a distinct feeling that he's listening back. I try again.
It's me,
There's an explosion of energy and a sound in front of me, but it's not a gunshot. It's a sense of forward momentum that I can physically feel, that whatever's in front of me is lunging towards me. Two loud thuds, one following the other in less than half a second, followed by an explosive dragging sound. The cycle repeats the second it ends. Whatever it is, it sounds desperate, almost manic, but I don't stick around to find out, because before I know it, my legs are carrying me through the clearing as fast as they can. All thoughts of what it could be are gone from my mind as I dodge into trees and bushes to my right, knowing that if I can break through the other side, I'll be right in front of Leo's house. What's behind me, though, is moving impossibly fast. Already it sounds like the distance between me and it has been cut in half, and I'm struggling between branches and sagebrush. I hear it break into the bush with me. I gasp as full-on panic sets in.
Leo! Leo!
I scream as loud as I can, knowing that he should be able to hear me, also knowing that he sleeps like a rock. The thing behind me seems to double its efforts to sound my voice, and the cycle of its movements increased. And now it's the momentum of a gallop. My breaths are coming in panic gasps, and now I know I'm not going to make it because it's only 3 feet behind me. As if a window opens in the back of my mind, I see it. 2 clawed hands outstretched towards me, a face that flashes past too fast for me to make out, but I manage to see a lipless mouth. And then it slams into my back and crushes me into the ground against sharp branches and rocks. I gasp as the air is crushed out of me, but before I can suck it back in, those hands wrap around my neck. I struggle and pull, but it's like I'm an ant under a foot. I'm so thoroughly pinned that I can't even budge an inch. It's hissing behind my head, and I feel dripping against the back of my neck. Tears squeeze out of my eyes as I try to reach forward, but it's like I'm paralyzed. Paralyzed. I'm yanked back, suddenly my face coming out of something soft and white. A pillow. Jace? Jace, you okay? Leo's husky voice whispers into ear as I take a huge gasp of air. Whoa, can't breathe? I cough and gasp, my face wet with tears, as I sit in the bed looking around. Oh, baby, it's okay. Leo draws me into a warm hug and I take it limply, my mind only now catching up. I cough a few more times.
Sorry, paralysis, couldn't move.
Leo rocks me a few times, making shushing sounds. I remember you telling me about that. Good thing I was here to pull you out your pillow. I nod against his chest, realizing how dangerous it could have been if he hadn't been there. I usually came out of paralysis in under a minute, but sometimes I shudder and pull back out of the hug, wiping my face. What'd you dream about? I try to think back, but the dream is fleeing my mind as fast as whatever it was that was chasing me. What was chasing me?
I can't remember.
Leo rubs my shoulder and looks at my face. It's dark, but I can see the white of his eye patches giving him an almost ghostly appearance. You want to stay up? I can make you tea or something? The adrenaline is already leaving me to replace my fatigue, but the offer sounds nice.
Sure.
Alright, wanna come with me? I pause, then shake my head, wanting to collect myself alone for a moment.
No, just give me a second.
Alright. Leo leans forward and kisses me on the forehead before leaving me alone in the dark room. I lay back down on my side, trying to remember what I dreamed about. I was in the woods and something was after me. That's about all I can recall. The warmth Leo left in the bed quickly with me drowsy again, and I'm about to drift off when something pokes me in the foot. I try to ignore it, but the thought of an insect of some kind is me reaching down to feel at it. It's hard and crackly, whatever it is. When I pull it up, it's fine as a dead leaf. Frowning, I pull back the sheets, and there, clinging to the fabric, the fur on my feet is dirt and leaves.
I don't like that. Oh boy. Oh,
It's a definite.
I might need to head off soon as well, sorry.
That's fine.
Yeesh.
How much longer do you want to do?
Well, we've only got 2 days left of this run now.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd probably make a good session, I'm guessing. From what I know, Saturday is of course the day everything goes to shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
it's probably gonna be here all out from here in.
Okay.
From what I remember.
So it's Saturday the day it branches.
It usually does. Not branches into good and bad. That's like right at the end.
Right, okay.
Like it's a pretty obvious choice.
Okay.
Can't really describe it any other way. I'm not
That's
spoiling
fine.
that.
That's fine. Well, now we're at the end of Saturday. Do you want to leave it there and you want to start again next time? Since we're at the end of a day.
Yeah, that'd be for the best, I think.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it. For what I know, Chase gets kidnapped
Of course he
at
does.
some point on this day, and then the horror begins from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Horror. Yeah. We're going to get into some slasher movie level stuff.
Ooh. Alright, well, we will save there then. That was the change of Vendrena, so we'll just do this
Yes,
one.
it's number 8. We were, yeah.
Because that
So
would be
now
the
we're
split
at 5.
point, but 10 is the 10 is the split for Jenna and Leo. So 5 is now the one we're going from, which we'll know because the date will be the right one. So yes,
Cool.
we will carry on with this next Monday then.
Yeah.
And we'll... I imagine if the ending is quite near the end, we'll probably get to the end of all of Leo's runs then.
Yeah, like, there's only like one scene following the choice. It's very obviously a bad and a good ending.
Yeah.
The good ending being, a bit more substantial.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything else about it, but it's a choice that you can see coming a mile away.
Yeah. I have a feeling I think I know what it's going to be, but I'm going to wait and see what it is before.
Okay, you can tell me that when we stop the stream, because I'm curious what you're thinking. In fact, say it now. What do you think is going to happen?
I just kind of get the feeling it's going to be one of if it's the feeling of the sort of slasher flick one, then I have a feeling it's going to be one of those. Do you accept or reject Leo by the end, and then just see if everything just kind of. And I just imagine the sort of. Have you ever seen the film High Tension or Switchblade Romance?
No.
There's a very interesting film about someone. The basically crux of the film is that there's someone and they've gone to their friend's family's house for the holidays, and basically someone breaks in and kills her friend's family and kidnaps her friend, and she follows it all the way along, and then the big sort of twist at the end is that it's actually been her doing it the whole way along, and she's been like sort of like she's been the one that kidnapped the friend and done all this stuff, and there's a couple of things that don't really make sense at that point, but I still enjoyed the film. But it's things like she's in a room, a sealed room, and one of the last lines is, "She can't hear me or see me, can she?" No. But then then the girl reacts like she can see her through the wall and stuff. It's just that kind of weird horror of there's something going on that's slightly more fucky. And that's kind of what I imagine for Leo.
There is an element of that. Like, you know how Shadow Chase has popped up in basically every route. A lot in TJ's, a little bit in Flynn's, not really in Carl's. He is back in full force with Leo. Let's just put it that way.
Alright. Well, we will discover this more on Monday then.
Yes.
So, yeah. I will see if there's anyone we know on that we can raid into. And hello, Lupine. I literally just realised you'd responded just as we were like, well, we'll just wind up. But yes, we will... Who do we know what's on? Let's go. Denny's still on, playing Dark and Darker. I guess let's go raid Denny again, because we haven't got to raid him very often.
Yeah.
So we will go raid him again. But yes, thank you everyone for watching along. I know today has been a little bit of a random time, but hopefully, as I said, we'll be back to finish this again soon.
We should be able to finish Leo's on Monday. I think we can do both of his endings then, and then it's just Jenna, who we probably will have to play through twice over completely.
Yeah.
Because of the way her endings work, it's a point system. I've heard it described as like the way you paint Echo to her, the different her perception is of the town, and that alters how she responds to things when everything goes to shit.
Okay.
I also know that the sexual part / romantic part of her story is completely skippable.
Yeah, you said, and I laughed at that.
Yeah, so gay men don't have to interact with a bisexual relationship.
Horror!
It's very funny. But specifically, you can only get that route with her if you say that you're bisexual to her earlier on. If you say, no, I'm gay, it's not a thing.
I don't even remember what we said.
You picked bisexual because that's what you were.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well. Anyways, our next streams, apart from that, is tomorrow night with myself playing some indie horror. Friday should be me, Tom, and Zeph playing something. I still cannot remember what we agreed to play. So we're playing something. Then afterwards, hopefully, be some Sons of the Forest with AJ and Cassie. Sunday will be Dark Tide. Next week, as long as there's no Halloween recordings, there should be some Halloween recordings coming through because Rowan is actually pushing. So Dragon is actually pushing to get a couple more signed up. So when there's Halloween recordings, we will be doing Halloween recordings. When there's not Halloween recordings, we will be doing. Monday will be more Echo. Tuesday will be more Deep Rock and indie horror. Next Thursday more indie horror. Next Friday again will be whatever the fuck me and Tom and Zeph are playing. So that'll be as normal going forward. But as I said, hopefully I'm going to have a couple of Halloween recordings to do because I really hope to do some. But apart from that, we will be catching you all later. So we're going to go and raid Mr. Sindini, who is a wonderful dude. And yeah, so until next time, folks, you all take care, and we'll catch you later. Good night.
See yous.
Yes.